Hi, Nico.
Mm.
Are you using your hotspot?
Not anymore. I'm still having some issues. It looks like some kind of like DNS from like the entire company is failing. Um, I saw a tweet today, but for now it is working okay. So if it fails, I'll jump in with hotspot. How's your day going?
Um, Busy. How about yours?
Doing good. Um, Trying to get back to work after being disconnected for a little bit. So let me jump right on it if you are ready.
I'm ready.
All right. So first of all, I like the main goals is to review for today is to review your currently like the final details and the land acquisition process for Viga. So if you want, we can go over the Calendly first, as it is more important, for us and for you. So first of all, I want to.
Yeah. No, I don't have time to go over the calendar.
Okay, land acquisition only.
Yeah.
Got it. Right. So my biggest thing here is to review the simplified land acquisition that I did here and to get more information about the like all the like realtor part and like mainly this section. No, sorry, this section. Like what happens after the land is reviewed and they make the decision if it is worth it or not.
Right.
So as you can see, like the entire overview of this new plan is I moved from this like going back and forth to like one line and color coding everything. So all the part that Biga or like GC team is making, what the realtor is making, and trying to use the different shapes as a yard, like we have here like the process shape or something like that, the decision shapes. So trying to put everything, as simple as possible. I don't know if this is something that I think that it will work better, mainly for them to understand it better than the huge,
Oh
table that.
yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. That's easier.
Um,
So for the review process, like the secondary review, that's something that I don't um have the capacity to tell you because that's uh Corey and yeah, mainly just Corey's analysis. But what I can tell you is that the new link that I sent this morning of the Westfield properties,
mhm.
um, that has some like pertinent information, and I imagine because um, they're a huge land seller and buyer that they know what are the important calls to make.
So my main stopper here, let's say, is how can we finish this project, because I'm waiting for some feedback from Corey on I think on the yeah, worth time, decision or review to make the time shorter for him. But after that, I don't know how we can implement this if it is a thing that we do like one meeting, we go through it with the entire team, or we just
Well, wait a minute. Like, why do you need Corey to make that decision up top here? This is based on criteria. So that's not something that Corey needs to be involved in at all.
No, no, right. But we are, so something that I was talking with Will, and he told me that he wants to reduce Corey's time, reviewing a property. So for that, we need some kind of, details that Corey is supposed to be getting ready for us, so we can include those details into the Google sheet, into like the first analysis that we do of the property of that a certain person does. So by that, with all of that with all of that information, as the comp that you provided to him, with all of that information, we are reducing like the 2 hours that Corey is spending on one property. I know
Okay.
Corey's not going to involve there, but we need his information because he's like the main guy, reviewing it.
So like with the four properties that came in this morning, if we're reviewing it against the criteria, can we make some of those decisions? Because I think we
yes.
just we don't know how quick the process is yet, and how many of those Corey's going to actually get stuck on. We need to start the process with Maritza, I think, until Corey's freed up enough, because Corey's swamped right now, and I'm trying to convince him to work on these things one at a time, like 5 minutes a week or something like that. But he just keeps pushing it back. So we need to make progress on our side.
Okay, so just to be clear, so this is like the first review after the property is posted on the first Google form, right?
Yeah.
So this is a part that Marisa should be doing.
Maritza and then Delmi if it requires MLS access. So like the comps, specifically, only person with MLS access, meaning a realtor license, can access that.
Got it. So here is where we are trying to get as much information as possible for Corey when he jumps, I think, here, to make like the final call.
Yeah.
So basically, we want to reduce this part here, like the amount of time that Corey is spending here, like from 2 hours to like
Yeah.
50
And I think there's another part of the process that we've completely disregarded, which is the accounting department needs to know if they have the money, and if they don't, there needs to be a financial strategy before Corey's involved. So at the part where Maritza and Delmi are involved, they need to check, Delmi has the ability to check Casanova Investments balance. Right now, I think they have $20,000 there. So if they proceed with an offer, and then it gets to the point where they need to provide proof of funds, and they only have $20,000 in the account, and they need to make a purchase of $150,000, they're going to get denied. So there needs to be the ball needs to be moving first in the mind of the accountants of where are we getting this money from.
So
and I think that should be I think it should be Maritza, Delmi, then GC, because Delmi can handle the financial strategy and the MLS access.
Okay, so Maritza first round, first review, second review Delmi with investment balance, like checking if it is worth it or if it is possible to buy it.
Funding strategy, because it, Casanova Siding can loan the money to investments if Siding has the money.
And then if the property is worth it for Maritza, for Delmi, and we have a funding strategy, then it will be worth our time for GC to review it.
Right.
Perfect. Got it. And that's connected with kind of these two parts, right? So the realtor is placing an offer and will request a proof of funds.
Yeah.
Got it. Do you have any more information about this section here?
So the realtor is probably going to be Eliseo, or it's going to be, what's this guy's name that was in Buscan Casa? Hoover. Or it's going to be some new person that we find, or it could be Delmy. That's a decision that we have to make in the moment. I think, LSAO has been historically slow to place those, but the owners really trust him and his decision making. He's requested to be like, on at least a consulting role to review the property. But I think it's important to build the realtor department from the inside of the company. So I would lean more towards assigning it to Delmy if it's an easy property. And that might involve like us getting like a CasanovaRealtor.com domain and setting up a quick email, and then, like building something that doesn't exist really quickly. So we need to consider those factors.
Yeah, kind of creating like a brand new department for that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And like I could talk to Delmy right now about it, but I don't want to overstep. I have to talk to a few people before I do that.
Okay.
And then the realtor does another level of due diligence.
Like with their own work, like their own process, everything.
Right. Like right now, we have these. Can you open up the 4 pieces of land that I sent in the investments channel? So we have these 4 pieces, and the first thing you do is in column A, select if you're interested or not. And then if you're interested, then what's your price range? So there's not even a price range on it. So the due diligence of the realtor would need to know, like, what are the land, looking at the comps, understanding the market, and then placing a competitive offer on the land. Like that due diligence is something only the realtor can do. And I think
should we move these all like these 4 properties to like using the Google form? So we have the database.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You want me to do that for them?
Yeah.
Do you know if by creating like the realtor, department, we can save like some money with like commissions and all of that? Do you have any information about that?
Yeah, I'm sure we can save commissions because the realtors, they do this full time and they live off of their commissions. So right now, since the real estate market is so hot, nobody will even touch us because they're making so much money. So the commissions I think I've seen on LSAOs have been pretty high.
So quick connection that I did the other day. I was watching a video. Remember the uplift or something that I sent you about the podcasts and all these business podcasts, and they uploaded one video about like a construction company somewhere in the States, and they mentioned that they can increase profit margins by making things internally. So I just connected that. I think it is pretty interesting, so the company can grow and increase, profit margins.
Yeah.
So I instantly connected that.
So you're leaning more towards Delmi as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much experience she has, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
So yeah, I mean, if she can go and do it, that would be great. We keep communications internally, and I think that's perfect. Probably we can use a sales call, but for lower commission or something like that, ask a consultant to assist Delmi in the process. We can create some kind of role or something for that, and having Delmi in charge. That's just a quick thought. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make these small changes here, and I'm going to wait for Corey's feedback to modify the first Google Sheet, so we can get the right information. And yeah, so my previous question was, how we can deliver this process and how we can start implementing it, so the entire team knows how to work on it. I know we are missing some of the automation yet, or we don't have the automation yet. That's what I'm planning here by having like the Zapier ClickUp icons here. But how do you think it is? Like,
yeah,
what the next steps are?
I mean, I think the next step is to immediately take control over the process with Maritza and get her to start processing these new pieces of land and like actually work with her to say, okay, like let's go through the process together, because I think it's going to be very fun for her. But nobody's holding her hand through it, and that's what she needs. And then like taking control over the way that we're submitting it. Like I just realized I sent that message so reactively this morning. I should have put it through the process, but the way that they provided the 4 pieces of land in a Google Sheet to instantly make the decision seemed a lot quicker than our process.
Yeah, but I think like it is quicker for them, or it is useful for them.
For who?
Like for the people that deliver the
Yeah, but you have to understand, like we're fighting against the clock right now, and I mean nobody's reviewed it. Nobody's really taken the time to review it. I've showed it to Will Berkeley and Mambo so far, but and we don't have the money anyway. But if you look at the email that I was sent, let me see, I can pull it up. this looks really automated. So they said, I'm currently waiting for one more signature to lock up the attached properties before I market these to my other buyers. The English doesn't make too much sense because I think he's implying that they're waiting from one more signature from us, which insinuates that we've already signed something. And if I click here to copy the property sheet, that's when I get the copy of the sheet. So I think they're sending that out to everybody. And then especially because they don't have a price on there, that tells me that they're trying to get people to compete with each other and outbid each other.
How are we in their database?
I think this is the same company that Juan Carlos sent me a while ago. I'm gonna double check that right now. And Juan Carlos just put me in touch with this guy. I filled out his form. What's up? Yeah. No. No. All right. No, but I'm all set. Thank you. Yeah, it is the same guy that I contacted. So I just told him like what type of properties we're looking to purchase and what areas and what price range. How quickly can we close? And now I suppose we're on that list, but I put my email so that I would get them. So now we know how another type of like seller sends them in.
What do you think we should do there? Like see like value, like my main thought here is to see what are the properties, if we see you know some of them are valuable or all of them or one, put those properties into our form.
Yeah, exactly. So I would take the criteria sheet and look at each piece of property side by side and eliminate the ones that don't fit. For example, you have a 7-acre property. It's probably going to be out of budget right now. It's a good like long-term investment, but you know, cash flow wise, we're not there yet. So we would probably look at the 1.32 acres and the 0.47 acres. The 1.32 seems the most promising because it looks like I can subdivide that into 3 different properties. I don't have it pulled up here, but let me show you like how I initially did this review in my mind. Can you see the properties?
I can see them now.
So the first thing that I looked at was the amount of acres, and I said, this is probably going to be too expensive, too expensive. I asked Will Berkeley, I was like, oh, how much space do we need to build a house? He's like 0.3 acres. So I say, okay, this is option 1, this is option 2. This is probably going to be the best option. It's got utilities and waters, utility and water. And I looked at the photos and I see here on the photo, the lot is here and it's got a road right here that goes all the way to this 3rd house. So theoretically, we could put 1, 2, 3 houses there. So we're looking at maybe $200,000 for the land, $500,000 per house. And, you know, we have a good profit margin there, maybe a $500,000 profit margin.
We have the like the criteria, because I remember we have the Google sheet. We have
Everything is linked.
No, but the criteria for us, like for example, I didn't know that we needed like 0.3 acres.
Need 0.3 acres of land to build a place, right?
Third of an acre? Yes, I mean, it can be smaller potentially if it has sewer and water.
What's the smallest?
Build on a quarter acre, it's just typically or even a fifth of an acre.
Because we have this 1.32 acre lot. Did you see this one yet?
I haven't seen any of them. I don't have access.
Oh, okay.
The doc slides, so requested access.
But basically it's got this road running through,
Okay, yep.
and I'm thinking we could put 3 or maybe even 4 there. It's 1.32 acres.
Is it in Mecklenburg?
It's in Winston-Salem. I don't know if it's,
Okay, it's not.
No.
That's a different county.
so then that changes the rules.
Well, so if it was in Mecklenburg, we could do 3 houses without having to do a subdivision filing.
Oh.
So anything up to 2 acres, you can subdivide into 3 lots without any issues. You still have to do the subdivision. You'll have to follow the subdivision ordinance. Yeah, and all the time, the review and everything that has to happen. Up there, it may be much simpler. It may be stricter. Usually once you get out of Mecklenburg, until you get to Wake County over by Raleigh, it's much easier. But yeah, it's possible. Is that a shared driveway though?
I think so, because it says access to Cody Lee Lane, like that's the address.
It looks like. And so there is some sort of restrictions, but I don't know what they are there or even here for that matter, on how many houses you can access from a private drive. So it's something we'd have to look into.
Wouldn't it mirror like this, or
There could be like a rule. Like 6 houses could be accessed from a private drive, and this would be 1, 2,
Oh, okay.
3, 4, potentially 5.
got it?
So, yeah, we would only.
I see.
Or try to secure it if we're
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Start a little bit late, but I figured I'd still make it.
Yeah, I think it is like a private street.
The street access from Cody Lee Lane here. This one. Oh yeah, they're all street access.
But the properties are so far away, like from Charlotte. How do we handle
Well,
like
if they're building 3 houses, like they'll put a crew in a hotel.
say 1 hour drive? I just found the criteria here.
Was it linked?
Yeah, I just I didn't see it. I thought it was just like underlined in the chart. It is on the old version, not on the new.
So by like looking at this, we're looking at a property that falls outside of this. You know, we're looking at 1.32 acres. So would I say no, or would I say compromise?
No, because like it is more of the of like the kind of the size limit that we have. And if we look at the long term, they are looking, you know, above 1 acre, but in the Charlotte area.
I would probably say 1.32 is compromising because of how many leads we've gotten so far.
Mm-hmm.
See, like this is large lots over 3 acres. So, you know, our variance is between 1 and 3, 1 and 2.5.
Can you change that in the bullet points in the long term?
Spicy chicken. Thanks. Yeah, I'll pick.
I just figured out that the 0.47 acres, the trees are not clear. So that will put, you know, another weight
Another what?
on our shoulders, you know, to another like expense.
Yeah, exactly. So you have higher cost, lower acreage, less return on investment. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would probably say the fourth option is probably the most realistic option out of all four, and that's the only one that I would push through. But I'm also not an expert at this. Like I'm just taking the knowledge that I've gathered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my first thought on that, just to add the comment, I don't think the area is good enough for like to have a, you know, a good like comp.
But that's when it hits Delmy. Like
Right.
you and I are
Right.
looking at the Maritza process.
Mm-hmm.
I think you do need to have like flows, because the flows really help show the flow lines. I can't remember this type of chart. What's it called? I
think it is there under flow charts on their left. You have the ones with three.
swim lane. So you can have a swim lane for Maritza, a swim lane for Delmy, a swim lane for accounting, a swim lane for GC.
And for the realtor, right?
Well, yeah, I guess the realtor team, right? The internal one.
Okay, let me see how I can. How I can have the simplified version that I did on the right with this format. because I think here the main issue is that we have so many items, you know, it is going back and forth so many times, not just the
Oh no,
like
I'm not talking about the chart design, man. I'm just talking about like how we explain it to each individual person.
oh
Like
yeah.
it's helpful for you and me to see the whole thing clearly, but when we start showing Maritza, we just need to show her what she's in charge of.
Got it. Mhm. So dividing the simplified one into like teams or person or people.
Yeah,
Got it.
like not even position right now. We should just do it into people so we can easily describe to them like what they're doing in a visual way, and that's reflected in ClickUp.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm probably just going to move the Codely one into the form and try to walk Maritza through it.
Cool.
Last question here. Give me 1 second. Screen. So on the properties, Maritza, Danny walked Maritza through it, and we have like the classification if it is like easy and how hard it is, you know, to find some kind of like that information. So all of the easy ones are the ones that Maritza should be in charge of, right? And then we move a little bit forward with the like MLS access, realtor information, and everything.
Yeah.
So I group everything into like one section, like Marissa section, and if it is worth it for her, I have like another section for Delmi or for the realtor that is
Yeah.
providing more details, right?
The thing is, like, Delmi can cover Maritza on her section, but Maritza can't cover Delmi on her section.
Got it. So we have, right, what if we have Maritza fill as much as she can and assign it to Delmi for final review, you know, buying strategy, like financing strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be so
Strict.
yeah, not strict, but so process heavy. Like it can be as simple as us looking at the master account balance sheet. Seeing when it was last updated. So here I can see it's last updated today, even though this is incorrect. And I can see Casanova Investments has 7,000 in it. Siding has 4,000, but the cash flow is not sufficient enough for us to take a loan out for 200,000. General contractor is too low. so basically we don't have the money. So the only financing strategy is to go to the bank and tell the bank like, hey, this is our history. We're cash flow short right now because we're waiting on some accounts receivables. We're waiting on a house to close in March, and we need a short-term loan for $300,000 to buy this property, and then we can pay it back in a year, and have that conversation with the bank. There's also this loan that's in progress right now of $1 million, and that's for, I think, for siding, or it could be for investments. If we get that in, like, we have the money right away to pay the house, to pay the land.
And Delmi is making like that call, right?
I mean, I think Delmi's perfectly capable of making that call, but she's got a lot of other processes in her mind, so I would need to like sit with her and talk to her about that.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, she says, hey, Yoli, where can we find this money? And I think Yoli's pretty competent to make that call.
Okay. Cool. So I'll try to organize this the best as I can, and try to work with Maritza to review the property that we found, and show her a little bit of the process.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Any other notes for that?
No other notes.
Okay. Cool, man. Thank you so much. I'll keep you all posted on the progress.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Bye.
Sorry, is it recorded on cloud?
It's not the cloud.
No. Okay. Whenever you can, just send it to me so I have it. No.
All right.
It is not urgent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good.